Hi, Miss Ridma. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are loud and clear. We can hear you. So
Okay.
we also have on the call today Miss Julian Jing, and she's going to lead the demonstration for EndNote for everyone who's joined the meeting today.
Okay, sure. So for this demo, straight to Miss Julin, okay?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
So, Miss Nurul, should we wait for everybody else to join, or do we have everyone from your side on the call already?
Sorry. Okay, we can start at 2:30. We wait for about 3 minutes more.
All right, great.
Okay.
Sounds good. And as a start, it would be good for us to understand who all from your end have joined the meeting. So if you could quickly introduce the attendees today, and then we'll also start with a quick introduction from our end, and we'll get the demonstration started and address all your questions with regards to the installation as well as the product and features functionality.
Okay, sure. So I will start first, and then I pass you to Miss Julin. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Okay. Right.
Ms. Nurul, we can start.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Okay, everyone can hear me? Okay, I hope everyone can hear. Okay, Assalamualaikum and very good morning. Thank you for attending this demo on EndNote. Okay, and I'm sure some of you maybe new in new notes EndNote, and some of us maybe they have used already the EndNote. So EndNote is um, manage one that can help us to manage our reference letters and others. So for this evening, I'm glad we have Miss Julin from Claribet. So without any further ado, I pass to Miss Julin to more explain about what is EndNotes and what is the use of EndNotes to the student. So with us also there is faculty members, lecturers, and also student. I think maybe some more of them are postgraduate students. Okay, so to Miss Julin.
Okay, thank you. So, very warm welcome, everyone. I think for today's session, it's very much a demonstration to show you the capabilities of EndNote 20. So, on the call today, I have with me my colleague Ritma. She's the she's the business development manager for the region, and she has been working closely with the library to try and get this available for all the users at UTHM. So after today's demonstration, do provide us with your feedback so that Puan Nurul will be able to make some decisions on whether this would be a useful tool to have at UTHM. Okay. So let me share my slides. Can someone confirm if you can see my screen?
Okay, Miss Julian, we can see.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so I have a few slides with, I have some slides that I wanted to share with all of you to give you an idea of what are the functionalities on EndNote 20. Puan Nurul has already indicated that there are some of those that are on the call who have never used EndNote before. Some of you have already used previous versions. So I'll try and cover some of the differences as we go through the session today. If you have any questions, feel free to put those questions into the chat box so that we can address those questions through the session. Okay. So what is the functionality of EndNote overall? So we have EndNote 20, which is the desktop version. We also have EndNote Online. There's also a free version of EndNote. What ultimately is this tool all about? Okay. It is helping to address this particular issue on the screen where researchers spend nearly 200,000 hours per year trying to format their citations for their research papers. Overall, when you're talking about the number of hours that you spend on research alone, okay, you wouldn't want to be spending that much time on just managing references. So a lot of postgraduate students, especially those that are doing a lot of heavy research, doing a lot of paper writing, they require a tool that would help to reduce this amount of hours significantly. So this is where EndNote comes in. It helps to accelerate your research by giving you a tool to help you to manage your references efficiently. Okay? It would not only help you to save time, to make sure that your references are in the correct format for that particular research paper. It also helps you to stay organized because you do not need to save multiple types of libraries for your references. You just need to use EndNote. Yeah. At the same time, if you are writing papers with other co-authors, you will be able to use some of these collaborative tools within EndNote Desktop, which allows you to share your references with your colleagues. Okay? And finally, there is this tool within EndNote itself, this feature in EndNote, which allows you to match your final written manuscript to a suitable journal where you can publish. Okay? It will not guarantee that you will be published in that journal, but it helps you to narrow the choices down to the most suitable ones based on the manuscript and the references that you have used. So what are the other features on EndNote that I wanted to highlight to you? Okay, you are able to attach PDFs, so PDFs of the full text articles onto EndNote itself. There is also a find full text functionality. So in the event that you have added the references without a PDF or without a full text, you are able to use this feature where you can search for the full text immediately by linking to your Library Easy proxy or searching through the web. Okay. Then in terms of managing the PDFs itself, the PDFs, you can actually edit the PDFs on the fly within EndNote. Later on, I will actually show that to you during the demonstration. Then finally, it's also about being organized. So what we have in terms of reference management is that, say for example, sometimes you add one batch of references at one go, so maybe 10, 20, 30, and the next day you add another 10 or 20, but you can't remember whether you've added those before, right? So this leads to duplications of references within your management tool. On EndNote, there is a very efficient way to deduplicate. So every time after every session, you will be encouraged to deduplicate the reference list that you have just added. Okay. For some of you, you have previously used EndNote X8, X9, and now we have EndNote 20. Ultimately, EndNote 20 was a major revamp and overhaul of the whole user interface of EndNote. Right? So if you see EndNote 20 today, you would see that it's a brand new look and feel compared to what you were previously used to. We also improved the PDF writing functionality and also enhanced some of the workflow tools for the end user. Okay. So this is how EndNote 20 currently looks like. Later on during the demonstration, you'll be able to see this. There's also the improved PDF reading and functionality refers to the fact that you are able to do the editing within EndNote itself now, and also there are various ways to add notes to the PDFs. So all these features I will actually cover during my demonstration, but I will be happy to share this slide decks with the library so that they can share with the other end users. Okay. The other feature that I quite like in EndNote 20 that the other versions did not have was this tabs functionality. In the past, you could only probably see one field where one view, where if you're looking at all references, you could only see all references and not see your other folders. But now you're able to see the various tabs as you're working through your references. Searching for duplicates has also been enhanced, as I mentioned before. And in the past, we have only used things like the author details, the year, the title, the journal title as basis for duplication identification. But we have enhanced this by including the duplication by DOIs and PMCIDs. Okay, so it becomes more accurate in finding those duplicate papers. Okay. So these are just some of the thoughts of our previous testers who were working with us before EndNote 20 was launched. Okay. Ultimately, what they have mentioned was things like easier to read, easy to use, a lot cleaner, less busy, and some of the other feedback that I've received over the years when I was speaking to researchers was there were some questions around why should I use, what's the difference between Mendeley, for example, and EndNote Desktop. So in terms of EndNote Desktop, there is currently no limit to the size of the files that you can attach to the references. Okay, so that means that if you sign on with us for EndNote 20, you download the desktop version, there is no size limit. So you can attach as many PDFs as you want. And this is especially important for postgraduate students who are working on huge papers with probably hundreds of references. Okay. So with EndNote, there are various learning and teaching support available. So there's a 24/7 learning portal available to you. There is also over 6,000 bibliographic styles available. Okay, that's one of the main differences between the free version and the desktop version. So if you're using the free version, I believe you're only getting about 1,000 or so bibliographic styles. Then for desktop, you get close to 7,000. Yeah. So now let me go into the demo to show you around this new EndNote 20. Okay, so there is a trial available. I think the Puan Nurul has actually indicated the link to the trial information. So you can download this the installer for 30 days before you'll be prompted for a token. Okay, so take this opportunity to have a look and see for yourself the power of EndNote 20. So I'm using an existing library that I have, but today's demonstration is very high level, quite quick to show you some of the interesting features. But when you come on board with EndNote 20, there will be detailed training provided to everyone, all the users of UTHM. Okay. So on EndNote 20, a few things that I wanted to highlight to you were things like the tab. So say, for example, here I'm looking at all reference lists. I am able to immediately open a separate tab and perhaps look at my other folders. So perhaps I want to look at my Sushi 2 research papers. Okay, then I can probably do additional work in these separate tabs. Okay. Adding references is also very easy on EndNote 20. Okay, so in the event that you have already saved a PDF on your computer, you can actually go to the computer folder where you saved all the references, full text papers, and you copy and drag into Note. Okay, so you can just drag and drop into EndNote.
Student teams were sponsored for different events. Apart from this, scaling digital learning, for digital learning, we have 2.14 million, 2.14 million plus students downloads, and also learning platforms and innovation courses, and also free courses.
Sorry, let me just mute. I think this is somebody. Hang on. So I would encourage all of you to mute your lines because, yeah, otherwise there'll be disruption. Okay, so back to the demonstration. So as I mentioned, if you have the PDF on your computer, you can drag and drop it into the EndNote 20, and then it will start to import the references for you. Okay. If you already had a previous version, sometimes they will not. It might have already identified it as a duplicate, so then it will not include that for you. Okay. So once you have attached the PDF, you can see this little paperclip logo next to each of the references. So it means that this particular reference actually has a PDF attached to it, or a kind of document. All right. So if you want to see and expand this particular reference, just double click on that. And then on the right-hand side, you can see that there is a full text PDF available. So this is the article that you're working on. We have enhanced the PDF editing. So in the event that you want to, say, highlight certain portions of the text in this PDF itself, you can click on markup or annotations right here. So there's a highlight functionality, and you can actually highlight the sentences that you want on this particular PDF. Okay. You can also include things like a comment. So you can put in a comment right here. Okay, and then save. Okay. So this saves this version of the PDF into your EndNote folder. So the next time that you're coming back into this particular record, so let's say I moved out from that record already, and I close this, and I come back in again, the highlights and the notes are still there on the PDF. All right. If you want to edit the references, this is where you can easily edit some of these information. So perhaps when you were importing the references, some of these details were missing. So in the event that it's so, you can actually easily edit this immediately on the record itself. The notes here can also, research notes can also be used for your own reference. So there are certain fields where it's free to type for yourself. So you can put in any text that you want, so that it helps you to identify that particular reference, or to give you a way to put in some notes to say why did you include this reference for future use. Okay. So this is the reference. If you want to add a brand new reference, a totally new reference, you can also do so by going to references and then new reference. You can include any type of reference that there is out there. Okay, so there's this drop-down menu where you can see all the different types of references. We also understand that sometimes some users find it difficult to know how they should actually reference certain document types. So what you can do is, if let's say that it's an online database, you select that, the fields that are needed would automatically show. All right. So things like here for a case, then they will change and it will include things like case name, reporter volume, and so on. So this becomes like relevant fields for that reference type. Right. Okay, the other functionality that we have would be creating your groups. So you can create, so we understand that there are perhaps thousands of references that you've included into your EndNote library, but you need a way to easily manage and categorize some of these references. So you can still use one reference library like this, where you keep about 1,000 plus or so, or up to 50,000 different reference lists. But under My Groups, this is where you start to organize your references. So you can see here, it looks like a bit of a mess, but because of the previous demonstrations I've done, we've created multiple types of folders. But what you can see is, if, for example, you want to group your papers into a particular category, you can easily create these groups like antibiotics, and then there'll be a separate group under antibiotics for that specific medicine, for example. Or even for things like tropical fruits. If you're doing a research paper on tropical fruits, you can create a folder for durian, a folder for mangosteen, and then you add those references in there. Okay, this references here, this 155 actually come from the 1,700 plus that I have here. So you can imagine that this is just a way of organizing this particular set of 1,700 papers that you have included. Right? You see these different little icons here. Okay, this signifies that this particular group is a bit different. So we have the normal group, which is like this with a little box or icon. This means that you have to manually include the references into that particular folder. Okay, so like this, I drag, and then there's one reference here. The one with the magnifying glass, this is where it's called a smart group. So we have this thing called smart group where you can set a option. Okay, you can set an option to the group to say, hey, every time I've added a paper on, say, currency, okay, please include that automatically into this folder. Okay, so that's what we call a smart group. So it automatically helps you to manage the references that you have newly added into the EndNote library. Okay, so this is the way that you can manage. Then if you see this little icon where there's two silhouettes of human beings here, it means that this particular group has been shared by other shared with other users. Okay, so if you click on this, share this group, okay, you would see who else have you shared this with. So each of these groups here can be shared with up to 100 users, and you can set the permission for them to read and write or read only. When you set read and write, it means that they can edit anything on the reference record. They can also edit or add any notes into the PDF. Okay. Okay. Then the other feature that we have here is called retraction. Okay. We have now got this additional feature here called retractions, which alerts you to articles that have been retracted, so that it warns you that you might want to be careful of using that particular reference. Okay. Let me see. The other, okay, one more useful thing is that sometimes when you're adding a huge batch of references, say 100 over references, you might want to have an idea of which of these references have higher citations. Okay, so there is a link out to Web of Science. So in the event that UTHM is considering a subscription to Web of Science, there will be an opportunity for you to create a citation report. So if you click Create Citation Report, it takes that 181 papers and pulls that into, oops, sorry. Internet. Okay. Yes. Let me find another set. Okay, so what you can do is here, and then create citation report. Okay, and then it pulls it into Web of Science so that you can see the citation counts for those publications that are from Web of Science. Okay, so just take note, because on EndNote, you're able to add articles that are not from Web of Science because it is ultimately a reference management tool. When you use this feature of creating a citation report, it will only pull the documents from Web of Science here so that you can see the citation counts for those documents. Okay, so this is the integration with Web of Science. Okay. Now there are various preferences that you can set as well. So if I click on preferences here, you will be able to see a few things that you can change. So you can change the display fields, okay, which fields that you want displayed, the display font size. Okay, so some of you might previously, some of you feedback that it was very small, the text. So there is now a way for you to increase the size of the font. The duplicates, so you are able to select more fields to compare so that you can detect those duplicates more accurately. The find full text functionality here allows you to put in the easy proxy of your library. So for UTHM, if you have your authentication route for full text, okay, you can put that in here so that it integrates with your subscriptions. Okay. Then PDF handling is something that I quite like as well, where that you are able to set an automatic import from your computer. So say, for example, earlier on, I showed you this particular folder where I kept all the full text PDFs. So in the event that I add more into this particular folder and I have set that PDF handling feature, then every time there's a new PDF added to this folder, it automatically gets sent and imported into EndNote Desktop. Okay. There are still other features here. So synchronization, we understand that you might want to use your references on the go, online. Okay, so we allow, there's a synchronization capability to your EndNote Online account. So all of you should be able to register for an EndNote Online account and synchronize this EndNote Desktop with EndNote Online. Okay, then earlier on I mentioned about the manuscript matcher. Okay, so say for example, this particular set of references on currency, you have finished your paper and you want to see whether you can find a journal that matches your manuscript. So what you can do is there's a manuscript matcher feature here. So you can click on that and it will port it over to manuscript matcher. And you can see here the 12 citations from EndNote 20 have been included. All you need to do is put in the title of your manuscript and your abstract, and then it will proceed to find a journal for you. Okay, so I'm just going to put in some dummy information. So from here, immediately you can see the most suitable one based on match score. It will show you the journal impact factor, the latest one, the category it is in, as well as the quartile. Okay, so once you're here, there is a way for you to link through to the journal's information to view the journal's homepage, or immediately submit your manuscript to the journal. So this would link you to the journal submission page. Okay, so this feature, the feedback that we've received is that it's very useful, because if you had to do this search separately outside of EndNote, sometimes there are journals that are similar names, or some researchers tend to think that, it's the same journal. So it run into the risk of submitting your manuscript to the wrong journal ultimately. Okay. The icons here also represent open access, so you can immediately see which of these journals is open access or not open access. So from the researcher's perspective, this is important, because for open access journals, this is where you will probably need to pay for an article processing charge. Okay. Right. So let's go back. So that's the manuscript matcher. I will pause here because I think I've gone through quite a few different features already. Are there any questions so far from anyone? Let me have a look at the chat. If anyone wants to unmute yourself to ask those questions, you can also do so.
Julian, Prathama here.
Yes, hi.
One of the questions that Nurul had prior to our meeting was how can everyone access EndNote once we conclude the demonstration? So please do cover that during the meeting.
Okay, sure. So to install EndNote, probably so that the link is there already. So what you can do is follow that link to download the EndNote version. So there's two versions. So there's a Web of Science. There's a Windows version and a Mac version. So depending on the machine that you're using, you can download the Windows installer or the Mac installer. Just select that, download it, and then just install it onto your PC. There might be some on-screen instructions for you, and then if, let's say, after a month or so, you would probably need to put in a product key to access further. Okay. Okay. Yes.
Hello, I have a question.
Hello.
Actually, I want to know the difference between the Mendeley desktop and EndNote, and please also let me know how many papers Mendeley have the capability to store in their database, and how many papers EndNote can save. Thank you.
Okay. So I won't be able to know the details of the number of papers for the Mendeley desktop version, but I can safely tell you that for EndNote 20 desktop, there is currently no limit to the number of full text articles that you can attach. So there is no size limitation. So say, for example, here, file attachment unlimited, reference storage also unlimited. Okay, so for the desktop version, there is no limit at all to the number of papers that you can include into this particular part that I just showed you. So here I have 1,707. You can put in as many as you want. Okay, same thing goes for the attachment.
What is the main difference between Mendeley and EndNote?
We are two different providers. So Mendeley is provided by a different company. EndNote is provided by Clarivate. One of the key differences between the two, as I remember, is the limitation in terms of the attachments. So I believe there's a limit to the number of papers that you can attach to Mendeley, because the free version would have a limit to it. The other thing is that for EndNote, there is an integration with Web of Science. So in the event that UTHM has access to Web of Science, you will definitely be able to link through to Web of Science to know more about the impact of those references that you have used. The other thing is that there is the link to the manuscript matcher. So this manuscript matcher allows you to more accurately match your paper to a suitable journal before you submit to any other journals. Okay. There are also other tools like sharing capabilities. I'm not too sure whether Mendeley has that functionality, but that is definitely one of those features that a lot of users have feedback to us that they really like on EndNote. Yeah. Any other questions?
Good afternoon, Miss Ju.
Yes.
Okay, I'm Dr. Raven. I want to ask regarding the output styles because before the
Sorry, I think I can't hear you.
means that it the EndNote output styles. Can you hear me?
I think you're dropping off. You might want to repeat your question again. Or if not, then perhaps it's the internet issue. So maybe you want to type the question into the chat.
One more question, please. This EndNote 20 is a purchased version, or we can use as a free download, free version?
So there's a trial available for all users for 30 days. So you can actually download on the installer. So earlier on, I showed you this link. It is also on the chat. So you can install the EndNote 20 version for Windows or for Mac, and then you have 30 days to use that before you will be prompted for a product key.
After 30 days, I have to purchase?
You don't have to purchase. So the purpose of today's call is actually so that if you find that this is a very useful tool to have, feed this back to Madam Nurul from the library so that they can gauge from user feedback to see whether they can subscribe for the whole institution.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, I see another question here in the chat. Hang on. Can I use one account or license on two devices? I use laptop mostly, but when travel, so you can actually use on I believe it's not more than 3 devices for the desktop. Yeah. But you can definitely log onto the online version from multiple devices. That's not a problem. But the desktop installation, I believe you can go up to 3. Okay, any other questions? Yes, I see Siti. You want to unmute yourself?
Hello, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can.
Actually, I'm very familiar with the EndNote because I used during my PhD. Just I'm wondering what the difference with the later, because I think this one is the latest one, right? EndNote 20. So I think I used the latest one, EndNote 11, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, 11.
So, yeah,
okay.
if I'm not mistaken. So what difference that's mean between EndNote 20 and because I use the 6, 7, 8 up to 1. So what difference? I mean the upgraded for between this EndNote.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of differences between the older versions and the new EndNote. Number one, the whole menu and everything has been revamped. Everything is changed. The layout changed. The display of the font size is also more flexible now. The online search functionality has also improved. The integration to, say, the other databases, the online databases search is actually more smoother now. So let me just...
I see. So it's more easier to synchronize. For example,
Yes,
when we are downloading in terms of the author and citations itself.
Yes, so it becomes easier. And then there's the attachment for the PDFs that you can edit immediately. it becomes easier to share. So I know for very older versions of EndNote itself, you can't share. So only you're able to manage your references. But in this new version, you can actually share those folders with your co-authors.
Okay, thank you.
For those of you who are worried about using the new version of EndNote 20, but if you're using the old version, okay, don't worry about it, because you can still use that same EndNote library and open it up in this new version. That's no problem. Okay. Okay, Dr. Ravindaran, you have a question here. On output styles, according to the style of journal. Currently, I'm using EndNote X9 and seems that not all output styles could be identified. Is this current EndNote 20? I believe there's an improvement, so there has been new reference styles incorporated. So let me just show you. So Open Style Manager. Okay, so we have, so currently here under the installation, it will default, I think, install about 2000 plus. Okay, so all these will be here. But in the event that you want to increase this number, then under the, let me go here. There is a place for you to download. So there is EndNote output styles. Okay, so it provides you the available download for up to 7,000 different styles. So depending on the journal, you might want to use this to find the publisher and then the relevant style. Okay, so I hope this answers your question, Dr. Ravan. If there's any specific journal that you want to try and search for, you can always go to this link and try and see whether you can find those styles or not. At the end of the day, if there's no one style that is suitable, there is still a functionality for you to edit the existing styles. Okay, so say for example here under output styles, if Vancouver is very close to what you require, but you need to make some minor changes, you can always edit. So I can click on Edit Vancouver, and all these are the different segments that you can actually edit. Things like numbering, how you list the authors' names with a comma, how many authors, and so on. All this can be edited. So once you have edited this to suit that specific output style that you want, okay, then you can save this as another name, and then you can continue to use that one for your future papers. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. The other feature that I probably haven't really shown you, because I don't have anyone to share who shared their group with me yet, okay, is that in the event that somebody else shared their reference group with you, this is the place where you can view what has been shared. And for those where you have shared with others, if they have made any edits, there will usually be a note that indicates what they have changed. Okay, so that's it's trackable. Okay. We also have another feature. We download this plugin called EndNote. for example.
Julian, you're not audible. I'm not sure if everybody else is able to hear you. Hi, Julian.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sorry. I think the mic might have got disconnected somehow. Give me a minute. But now you can hear me clearly. Can you hear me clearly now?
Okay. Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just double check. Okay, so you can hear me, yeah? All right. So on Web of Science, earlier on, I was talking about EndNote Click. So you can actually download EndNote Click for yourself onto your browser. And what this does is it will help you to find the full text as well. So you can do a search for a paper, say on Web of Science, and it will work in the background. So these three dots actually represent EndNote Click. Okay. So if there's a full text available, then it will show up. Hang on a minute. Okay. Okay, let me just limit this to open access. Okay, so by right, if let's say it could be an internet connectivity issue that I'm facing at the moment, so hopefully it'll hold on. But in the event that there's a full text PDF, there will be a link here that allows you to open up the full text PDF immediately. Okay, so that is EndNote Click, and I would encourage you to try and install that so that it becomes more convenient for you to add the reference. Okay, so just to show you how this looks like. Okay, so say for example, I've retrieved a full text article from here. Okay, this one is the NSF. Yeah, so I do apologize. I think it has something to do with my connectivity. Okay, okay, so this is found. Okay, so this is the full text PDF. Then what you can do is you can export it directly to EndNote desktop. So immediately export this and open this up, and it will import into EndNote. Okay, so this is EndNote Click or Corponio. You can install this onto your web browser so that it makes it easier to include the PDF full text to EndNote. Are there any other questions? Okay. Otherwise, there is a help available. So if you have any technical issues, you can always get technical help. There is also a training portal. So during this 30 days, if you need more intensive training, then you can click on the training portal. And there will be video tutorials available for you to see. Okay, so there are video tutorials here. So for Mac users, there is a quick reference guide. For Windows as well. So all these are the available guides for you. There is also a community page. So there is an EndNote community. Okay, so for expert users who are already using EndNote and you have some specific questions, you can always post those questions into the community. And this is where they actually share information. So things like specific questions or features that they want to find out about.
Julian, can you show again if my EndNotes library is empty? So how can I transfer all the reference to the EndNotes? Can you show again?
Okay. So let me just close this library first.
Okay. For the new user, the EndNotes library is empty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for new users, this is the tile that you will probably see. So can you see this? Okay. So this is you can create a new library. All right. Then you can select a name for your new library and save it onto your computer. Okay. And this is a fresh, this will be a fresh library that you can use. So if you want to add references, what you can do is either from your folder with the full text articles, drag and drop it into the EndNote library right here. Okay, so it will start to populate. Okay, so you can see the number of references increasing. So this is how you can add references immediately from here. Give it some time to import. Okay, so this is how you add the references here. Okay, if you have a new reference, then you can click here. There's this plus sign. Then this is where you select the document that you want to reference. So if it's a journal article, you fill out all these details here. Alternatively, if you are browsing through, say, Web of Science or any other publisher's website, okay, there is a selection. So you can select the references and export to EndNote desktop. Okay, so you export to record, then export. Okay, so it will open up as this CIW file, just open this, and it will import the 50 into this.
Oh, okay.
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 Yeah. So this is how you add references.
Okay, thank you.
To create a group, here under my group, we right click and there is a create group. So you can create group first and you name this okay, or let me see, hydrogen. Okay. Then if you want to add references for hydrogen in here, go to your references and do a search for hydrogen. You can do other search as well. No, sorry, this is author. Hang on, any field, search. So if these are all the references that you want, select all and drag it to hydrogen. Then there'll be 50 here. Yeah, so this is how you create the groups. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Okay. So is there any other questions that I can help to address today? Let me see the chat. No.
Ms. Nurul, any questions from your side?
I think for the new user for EndNote, I think it bit confused because when we install the new, it needs the key. What is that? Key, product key. So maybe it confused for the new user to install this EndNotes. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a desktop program, so
Yeah.
that's why most of the time it requires you to install and have a product key. It's a bit like Microsoft Windows or Microsoft Word, right?
Ah.
So the first time users usually have to go
Yeah.
through that
First time users.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The process. So that yeah, I hope they can cancel they can click on tab cancel, then they can use the trial for free for 30 days. And then we can see the EndNote library, because I think not not all know about this. So maybe I can help them lah, if they have any question about this to the library.
yeah, yeah. So usually for once you're on board, so let's say for UTHM, if you come on board with the site license for EndNote desktop, then usually that the product key is automatically provided to you, and then you can actually pass it on to the users who are authorized to use it. Then once that happens, it becomes less confusing. And then at the same time, we will also provide training sessions for your users. So especially those who are new, they will be able to go through the detailed training. So but the detailed trainings are usually 2 hours long.
Oh.
Yeah, so for today, it was supposed to be more for a high level kind of demonstration to show you what are the key features um, for 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 users lah. There is some in comparison chart here as well, so I'm going to put that into the chat box so that users can also have a look to compare what's the difference between the free version and the not free version that we have. So today what I demonstrated is actually EndNote 20, which is the desktop installed version. Okay, so this is the one that users will have to feedback to you lah, to see whether they want this or not.
Okay. For the trial, is that possible? UTHM to use the academic site, academic site license. Is that possible for the trial?
Cannot.
Cannot.
It's like that for because it's a software lah.
Okay. Okay.
So cannot, but they can always try the free version that is the online, which is basic, so that you can have a feel of what EndNote is. But ultimately, the free version is really bare bone. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Thank you, Julian.
Yeah, welcome. Okay. The other thing, maybe final thing that for users, there is also a plugin for Microsoft Word. So in the event that you want to write with your references properly laid out, right? The plugin called Cite While You Write can be quite useful for you as well. So even for the free version, you are able to download this to try it with your Microsoft Word so that it becomes seamless to write your paper. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, for the user, we will put the trial link at our PDTA library website, so you can go at our website and you can download the EndNotes from our website for 30 days trial.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. So, Ritma, I'll hand it back over to you in case you have anything else you want to share with them.
No, thank you very much, Julian, for the demonstration today. I think this is helpful for all the attendees to get started on EndNote. After the trial, what we will also do is Ms. Nurul will send over a feedback form, and if the attendees would be interested, we can discuss how to proceed further, whether it would be an individual license for everyone or whether you would request a site license. Would that work?
Okay. It's okay. We will get feedback from our from the trial version first to go more further for the next step.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So thank you. Thanks, Panuru.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Okay, thank you, Julian, to Rima and everyone who come for the demo.
Okay,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, see you. Bye.
See you.
Okay,
Hope it was
thank you.
helpful. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.